Mary J. Blige is desperately trying to control the damage after explosive reports linked her to Diddy's notorious parties, alleging an inappropriate relationship with a 15-year-old boy. The alleged victim has come forward, claiming she flew him out for meetings while Diddy secretly pulled the strings. Mary J. Blige has allegedly been identified in one of the recently decrypted freak-off tapes uncovered by federal agents at Diddy's residence. Nearly 2,000 hours of footage were retrieved from computers at his Miami mansion, and as more data is decrypted, additional celebrities are expected to be named. Insider reports claim that Mary J. Blige collaborated with Diddy, and in her own words, she acknowledged that he was the architect of her career. The gay Hollywood mafia is reportedly orchestrating everything from behind the scenes, pulling the strings of the industry.
When I met Puff, I was afraid of success, afraid to do anything that could put so much attention on me. And then when I met him, he was the complete opposite. And he was such a good thing for me because I needed what he had. And so his ambition pushed me to be ambitious. Because I didn't know how, because when you come from where I come from, you're scared to be ambitious, you're scared to want more. And so when I met Puff, I was blown away. But it took some years to grow into that and accepting someone that just was so excited about being seen and about having the lights on them and wanted it for you more than you wanted it for yourself. So, Puff was a huge inspiration.
Alleged victim Danny Boy claims he met Mary J. Blige at one of Diddy's parties, where Suge Knight informed him that Mary was interested in spending time with him. At the time, Danny was just 15 and didn't understand why she would be interested in him. It was only after Mary took him to a separate room to spend the night with him that he finally realized the full extent of the situation.
Mary J. Blige is allegedly on a freak-off tape with Diddy. It's been going around all over TikTok that Mary J. Blige is in a freak-off tape with Diddy, and she's saying that this was her rite of passage. And a lot of people have always wondered about Mary J. Blige, and they feel like she is in on some shit because she has never opened her mouth, and she has been with Diddy since the very beginning. And there are a lot of photos on the internet with Mary J. Blige with Cassie, and as you can see during these photos, Cassie has visible bruises on her body. Now, all this information with Mary J. Blige allegedly being in a freak-off tape with Diddy instantly made me think of Danny Boy. Mary J. Blige slept with a 15-year-old Danny Boy when she was 24 years old, and Danny Boy admitted that Mary J. Blige would fly him out to New York multiple different times.
But that's why I was kind of confused when I heard Kurt saying that Mary was pot girl. Because at that time, she was my girl. At that time, I'm 15, 16 years old, and she flying me in to see her. And you know what it is when a girl back up on you young and shit, and I'm trying to show her that she ain't phasing me. I'm hard as goddamn. She's backing up against me. This Mary J. Blige. And quite nice with the guy. I don't even know if you're supposed to say you had sex with people.
Following Danny Boy's accusations, Mary J. Blige initially tried to remain silent. However, the overwhelming evidence supporting his claims has reinforced the truth behind his statements. Allegedly, Mary J. Blige fell in love with Danny Boy, and after the accusations surfaced, she spiraled into depression. Ultimately, Diddy had to step in to support her through the fallout.
I learned that I'm human, and I'm not going to allow people to take my freedom. Only freedom I have is freedom to be me, freedom to do me, freedom to move around the way I want to, say what I want to, and not let you put me in a box.
Hers is a freedom hard fought and earned. Born in the Bronx in the 1970s and raised by a single mother, Blige says she had a rough childhood. As a young girl, she was sexually abused. She discussed the incident in 2011 on VH1's Behind the Music.
When I was 5 years old, I was molested. And just, I remember feeling literally right before it happened, just could not believe this person was going to do it.
Things may be bad for Mary J. Blige, but for Diddy, they're far worse. In a major blow, his longtime law firm dropped him after Lady Gaga reportedly threatened to cut ties with the firm if they continued representing an alleged rapist. Diddy had been with Grubman, Shire, Mycelas, and Sachs for over 20 years, but once the federal lawsuit was filed against him, they quickly severed ties.
Law firm of Grubman, Shire, Mycelas, and Sachs has dropped Combs as a client. Now, this is the firm of Alan Grubman, who is a very prominent entertainment lawyer that represents some very big names. Weeknd, Madonna, Chris Brown, Paul Simon, Usher, Bruce Springsteen. In fact, by the way, Alan Grubman was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He actually helped found that back in the 1980s. So, gives you an idea about how big of a powerhouse this firm is. Now let's go back to Sean Combs. So the rumor circulating is that this firm did this because singer and actress Lady Gaga had threatened to leave the firm unless they parted ways with Combs. This is according to reporting by News Nation. And it's a big deal because the rapper and producer had apparently been with Grubman's firm for over 20 years. He was friends with Alan Grubman by all accounts.
Diddy's troubles keep piling up. The lawyers he hired after being dropped by his longtime firm are now abandoning him as well. His attorney, Anthony Rico, has just filed a motion with Judge Aaron Sibrin, signaling more instability in Diddy's legal defense.
It's a difficult circumstance. He's making the best of the situation.
A situation one of Diddy's attorneys won't be part of moving forward. Anthony Rico announcing in court docs, under no circumstances can he continue defending the embattled rapper.
This is a serious proceeding with serious consequences, and all of us are addressing it accordingly.
In a motion filed on Thursday, Rico stopped short of revealing why he's stepping down from Diddy's legal team, just months ahead of the music mogul's scheduled trial date in May for sex trafficking and racketeering charges, all of which Diddy's denied.
You know, Dr. King called it the law of unintended consequences. So sometimes the more you push a person down, the stronger they get.
That's Rico speaking up late last year for his now former client. ET's learned the attorney's exit will not affect Diddy's other attorneys, nor their defense strategy.
I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. He has been ready to defend this case since he first found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective.
We're going to hear about my party. They're going to be shutting them down. They're going to probably be arresting me.
After Diddy was arrested, Rico said he provided a high level of legal representation, but now, for reasons unknown, he can under no circumstances effectively serve in the upcoming trial.
Nobody's okay with staying in jail for now.
And high-profile death penalty attorney Anthony Rico. Now, while the pair joined around the same time, Anthony in a court filing on Friday said he's leaving the case. In the filing, Anthony Rico said, quote, "For the reasons set forth below, this motion for withdrawals is filed so that Sean Combs may move forward with his defense and to commence jury selection and trial without any delay. As a result of discussion with lead counsel Mark Agnifilo, this motion for withdrawal of counsel is filed. While I am aware that the local rule requires an application for withdrawal of counsel is supported and granted, there are sufficient reasons related to protections afforded by the attorney-client privilege for brevity in my application for withdrawal as counsel in this case. Although I have provided Sean Combs with the high level of legal representation expected by the court, under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs," end quote. Now, essentially in legalese, I quit, but I can't go into details because of attorney-client privilege. According to the filing, though, the defense shakeup won't delay the case. Diddy will continue with 5 attorneys. That's Mark Agnifilo, Tenny Garagos, Alexandra Shapiro, Jason A. Driscoll, and Anna Esteval. Now, a judge still has to sign off on the motion, but with the government taking no position on it and the fact Anthony Rico spoke with Mark Agnifilo about it before filing the motion, a judge will likely sign off.
What led Anthony Rico and Grubman, Shire, Mycelas, and Sachs to walk away from Diddy? Is the evidence against him truly that damning? Industry insiders are now weighing in on the situation, revealing just how serious things have become.
An attorney walking away. Sometimes it's because they don't get the lead chair or one of the lead chairs. Sometimes it's because a client is lying. Sometimes it's because they believe wholeheartedly that the client is going to be guilty and they don't want to be associated with that guilt because that's a loss on their record. It could be a variety of things, but the fact that we are speculating about that when the trial date hasn't even started yet concerns me, because I'm one of those people, ladies and gentlemen, who firmly believes it's virtually impossible to find a jury that's not contaminated by some kind of information that's been put out to the public before a trial begins. I'm not one of those that believes that. May 5th is May 5th. I mean, come on now. That's more than 2 months away. Jury ain't been selected yet. You trying to tell me nobody that's on the jury will have heard that a lawyer backed out of the case? I don't know about y'all, but I find that that's not a good thing for Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy is now desperately trying to suppress the evidence seized from his Miami mansion. This includes the infamous baby oil and the decrypted freak-off tapes currently in FBI custody. Among those identified on the tapes is Mary J., Blige, and Diddy's legal team knows that if this evidence is included in discovery, his fate is sealed. With the weight of these revelations, not only is his freedom at stake, but his survival in jail could also be in serious jeopardy if it's proven that he's a
Don Diddy Combs, looking to suppress evidence in his federal trial. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Kaczorski is back with the story. Good morning again, Aaron.
And to you, Michael. You'll remember federal agents from Homeland Security Investigations were hardly shy when they raided Sean Combs' opulent homes in Los Angeles and Miami, guns drawn. The jailed music mogul now argues those searches and other searches of his iCloud accounts, electronic devices, and New York City hotel room following his arrest were unconstitutional. His lawyers argue evidence obtained through those searches must be suppressed. Diddy's lawyers say the government presented a grossly distorted picture of reality when applying for the search warrants, omitting certain facts and including salacious details from an unnamed producer that were never credible. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and prostitution charges. The defense is also arguing here his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, was a willing participant in drug-fueled sex performances called freak-offs, not coerced as prosecutors allege.
I think that the public and the media have gotten nearly every fact wrong about what the prosecution's case is here. So I just want to take one issue with that. You know, there's no minors, there's no celebrity sex tapes. You know, the civil lawsuits here are not driving the allegations that we're defending against. But it is driving the vitriol against him in the media.
You know, I'm going to highlight something because this one drives me crazy because I read what the prosecution files and I read the indictment. And if you read the indictment, there's no allegation of sex with minors. There's no allegations of A-list celebrities. There are. The new superseding indictment lists 3 so-called victims. I like to call them complaining witnesses. But isn't that right, Tenny?
No, that's absolutely right. There's no minors here. There's no celebrity sex tapes. There are a lot of stories in the media about lawsuits. There's been a flurry of lawsuits in the past 2 days because of an expiring statute, essentially, which is why you've seen a lot of lawsuits in the past few days. But it's incredible here what I'm witnessing, which is that we're, at least I personally, like what people ask me about and come up to me about are a lot of allegations that just have no basis in reality.
Diddy's team is also pushing back against the other charges he's facing. Federal prosecutors allege that 2 of his girlfriends were actually prostitutes he hired to live with him, compensating them with houses, cars, and lavish gifts. However, Diddy denies all accusations and is reportedly claiming that prosecutors are targeting him because he is black.
Sean Diddy Combs is responding to a new indictment against him. In the court docs, prosecutors accuse Combs of knowingly transporting people from 2009 to 2024, quote, with intent that the individuals engage in prostitution. stating that he willfully caused the transportation of female victims, including but not limited to Victim 1, Victim 2, and Victim 3, and commercial sex workers in interstate and foreign commerce on multiple occasions. The indictment also alleges that he, quote, engaged in a persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse toward women that was verbal, emotional, physical, and at times sexual, with the filing stating that he manipulated women to participate in orchestrated performances of sexual activity with Combs. At times, Combs and others acting in his direction made arrangements for women and commercial sex workers to fly to Combs' location. Combs ensured participation from the women by, among other things,
a new motion filed by Diddy's legal team argues that the prostitution charges against him are racially motivated. This has become a common defense for Diddy, as he claims every accuser is simply jealous of his success as a black man. However, with mounting evidence against him, it's clear that he knows he can't win on facts, so now he's trying to shift the focus to race.
Sean Combs asked the judge in his federal case to throw out one of the charges. He says he's being targeted because he's a black man and the charge is rooted in racism. I look at Combs' argument and his chances of success. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Sean Diddy Combs wants one of the counts in his federal superseding indictment thrown out. Combs argues he's basically being singled out by federal prosecutors because of his race and his success in business.
Diddy's defense seems to be gearing up toward his alleged criminal conduct wasn't criminal. It was his personal business of what was going on in his bedrooms or hotels or wherever the freak-offs occurred. So they're saying that count 3 wasn't transportation to engage in prostitution, but was just him using escorts, male escorts at that, to bring in as a third with his girlfriends. Whereas the government's theory of the case is Diddy used force, fraud, and coercion to make his alleged victims have sex against their will in his freak-offs that he recorded for his own pleasure. Now, Diddy pleaded not guilty to all his charges, hence why the case is going to